Hi everyone, welcome to In the Kitchen with Delightful Donna. On today's episode, we're making pot roast in the Instant Pot and fresh green beans also in the Instant Pot. So stay tuned for my recipes, tips, and tricks. Hi everyone, welcome back to In the Kitchen with Delightful Donna. Today we are making pot roast in the Instant Pot. And I have a nice little twist for you guys on this one. So I have here about a 4.5 pound pot roast. Actually, I got this at Costco and there were 2 in the package and they were 7.5 pounds for both. So I'm guesstimating because the other one's a bit smaller. So I'm guesstimating. To make this a little bit easier to fit in my Instant Pot, because this is a large pot roast. By the way, this is boneless. Sorry, I didn't say that. We're gonna cut it in half. So we're gonna do that first. And then we're gonna season. So I have a really cool twist for you guys today, and I hope everybody really likes it. And I don't want anyone to feel intimidated or think, oh, that's weird, that's so gross, that's not gonna work, or whatever. So have an open mind when it comes to this twist. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna season. This is my basic seasoning, you guys. You all know that I make this all the time. This is just garlic powder, salt, and coarse ground pepper, can't talk. And this is like my holy trinity. I put it on everything because it has such great flavor. So we're just gonna put a little bit of this on each side, kind of rub it in a little bit like a dry rub. Maybe about a ½ teaspoon per side. And then we're gonna flip it over and do the other side. And you see, this is a chuck roast. And you see it has this big line of fat right here. You could trim that if you wanted to, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm not going to. And that's because the flavor comes from the fat, you guys. I know it's so bad, but it tastes so delicious. So I promise you, if you leave it in, it's gonna be good. It may have a little bit of fat in the Instant Pot when you take it out, but that's okay. You can skim off the fat if you want to. I'm gonna get a little bit down on these cut sides, like that. A little bit more here on the back side. All right, so that was easy to season, right? This is super simple, you guys. You're gonna love this one. This is super great, another one for during the week. You come home from work, you wanna get something as quickly done as possible, but you don't wanna be slaving over the stove for an hour cooking. You just set this, forget about it, come back later when it's done, shred it apart, you're good to go. Serve it with some quick sides. So, we're gonna place this in the Instant Pot. I'm just getting up some of these spices that are on my parchment here. I'm just gonna place these down inside. No special way, it's not fancy, just get them in there. Again, just get some of these excess spices off this parchment. Here's the other half. The reason we cut it in half is so that it'll cook a little bit quicker, so it won't take so long to get to the center of that. This is gonna cook for about 20 minutes per pound. So that's kind of average so that it will shred apart. Let me wash my hands and then we'll get the rest going. Okay, we'll clean up this mess in just a second. Alrighty, so first things first, you wanna have some real good gravy when this is done. So you wanna put in beef broth, and the way I do mine is I just use this Knorr beef bouillon, some Knorr beef bouillon. And I'm gonna use about 2 tablespoons roughly, and I just sprinkle it over the top of the roast. And that should do it, you know, with my real precise measurements. Alrighty, next thing is this. I don't know if anybody out there uses this. My mom taught me to use this a long time ago when I was young. This is really, really good for any type of brown gravy that you're gonna make. So since we're gonna use the drippings of this to make the brown gravy after, I'm gonna put some in now. We might use a little extra at the end also. If I can get it open. There we go. All right. Again, super precise measuring. Okay, so this is Kitchen Bouquet, and you find it on the gravy aisle, like where those packets of gravy are. By the way, don't ever buy those, gross, ew. But I'll teach you how to make fresh, nice gravy. But you get this, it's usually on the top shelf. So, you know, we're gonna pour some in. Sure, maybe 2 teaspoons. That sounds good. Alrighty. We're gonna grab some Worcestershire because I forgot to get that out of the fridge. No substitute for Lea & Perrins, guys. Spend the extra money, don't buy generic on this. This stuff is so good. My husband can drink this straight out of the bottle. He loves it that much. You know, this comes out in little shots when you shake it. I don't know, let's call it 10 little shots. I know y'all love my precise measuring. Super fantastic. Okay, let me get my onion and my garlic. I have those chopped up on my board in the back here. 3 really large cloves of garlic, peeled, keep them whole, toss them in. Everybody in the pool. This was a medium size white onion. I quartered it. I'm gonna use 1/4 of it for another recipe we're gonna do, and then I'm gonna use 3/4 in here. Everybody in the pool. Now we're gonna put some water in. Oh, let's see. This thing holds 6, 8, 12 cups. We're gonna put not that much. Maybe half. Let's see. Let's call that 4 cups of water. If you're using a 6-quart Instant Pot, it's to the first line, which is the half full line. Take it a tiny bit more. There you go. To that first line. Can you guys see that over here? I don't know if you can see. This one says pressure cook max right here, and then there's a line just below it. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's the line we took it to, which is half full. Okay, it's really that simple, you guys. That's it. I'm gonna put the lid on it. So I just wanted to share a tip with you guys because, oh wait, see, I was ready to move on. I forgot my special ingredient, my twist. Okay, you guys ready? Don't laugh. We're gonna use some cherries. I happen to have frozen. If you have canned, if you have fresh, whatever you have, not a lot. This is just to give it a little bit of a special taste. Some people use wine. Some people use juice. That's okay, you use whatever you want. I'm just gonna throw in about, I don't know, 6 or 7 of these cherries. There we go. All right, that's my twist, guys. And don't be giving my secrets away. Just kidding. Okay. One thing that you guys might be asking, people are gonna look at this and go, ooh, I don't know, she's not browning that meat. Because normally when you would make any type of roast, you would sear the meat. But I'm not doing that. And one of the reasons is because I want it to be quick. Second reason is sometimes you'll get a burn notice after you sear something in an Instant Pot. I don't wanna deal with that because I wanna be able to walk away, right? We talked about this being quick and easy. So that's one of the other reasons I'm putting that browning sauce in, because that's gonna give the richness, and then also these cherries. It's gonna give a richness to the flavor of the juice at the end, which we're gonna turn into gravy. So, next tip, make sure that your gasket, make sure that it is seated properly. If it's not seated properly in your lid, your Instant Pot won't come to pressure. A whole bunch of steam will be coming out, and it's not gonna cook right. And you're gonna be like, why didn't that ever count down? What's happening? Dinner's ruined. Don't panic. Take your gasket, push it all the way in. Make sure you're getting it behind this metal lip right here. All the way in. I just go around it a few times, kind of pull it towards that little metal lip, this little piece right here. Make sure that there's a groove. Can you guys see the groove inside the gasket? That groove needs to be sitting up against that metal piece. All right, so that's seated properly. Now we're gonna put it on. Okay, here we go. And we're gonna make sure that our vent is to seal. We're gonna do manual pressure. And we're gonna do it for 60 minutes. And then it's gonna start. It's gonna count down those 60 minutes. We are gonna let this natural pressure release for at least 20 minutes. I'd like to do it for the whole time. Sorry about that. I'd like to let it just natural pressure release all the way down. But if you're in a hurry to get your dinner on the table, do it for at least 20 minutes. If you do not natural pressure release your meat for at least 20 minutes, it will be rubbery. So that's the thing. You have to remember that you're cooking in liquid. So you're essentially pressurizing and boiling this meat. So you want to make sure that you treat it properly and let it come down to natural pressure release on its own so that your meat is nice and tender. So we'll come back in an hour and open this up. Okay, we're gonna make a quick side dish in my other Instant Pot. This is an 8-quart Instant Pot, but whatever size you have will work for this 6-quart or 8-quart. And we're gonna make some fresh green beans. And I have here a bag of trimmed green beans. These are organic. They come from Costco. It doesn't have to be organic. It's just what I purchased. This is 2 pounds of green beans. I don't cut mine down because we like them whole, but you could snap these in half as well. So I'm going to take my bag of green beans that I've opened and put them in the pot, just like that. All right. I have a 1/4 of an onion that we reserved from that onion that we were putting in the pot roast. I've just cut those into little slivers, and I'm just going to sprinkle those in. I have 3 cloves of garlic. I did forget something. Let me run to the refrigerator. Forget the bacon. Always have to have bacon. I use these bacon crumbles from Costco. This stuff is like a lifesaver, you guys. This works so good. Like if you're making an omelet in the morning, just throw a handful of this in there. It's so convenient. It's pre-cooked and it's already crumbled for you. And it's really delicious. So I'm gonna throw some of that in. And it smells delicious, wish you could smell it. And like, you know, we don't measure, so however much you like. My husband loves bacon, so I don't know, maybe we'll call that a 1/2 cup. Sounds good to me. I just noticed there's recipes on the back. That's kind of cool. Anyway, all right. We're gonna add a splash of white vinegar. You guys probably think I'm weird. This is gonna be more like green beans from the South. We'll call that 2 tablespoons. Sure. This is crushed red pepper. If you don't like things spicy, don't put it in. It doesn't make it super spicy. It just gives it that little kick. I'm gonna use about 1/2 teaspoon. You guys know I love my Knorr seasoning powders. So this one is the chicken bouillon. I'm just gonna put about, about a tablespoon. Sprinkle that in there. That just gives it some really nice flavor to the broth that we'll cook up for these green beans. And the juice is so good after. When you eat those green beans and have a little bit of that broth, it's really delicious. I'm gonna do a teaspoon of my Holy Trinity garlic, salt, and pepper. And about 6 cups of water. Which happens to be my whole pot here. Alrighty, so we got that all down inside there now. You can see how good that looks. Now we're gonna put our top on. We're gonna pressure cook these for 5 minutes. I had to think about that for a second. We're gonna pressure cook for 5 minutes, and then by that time our meat should be about done. Let's take a look at that timer really quickly. Looks like it has about 2 minutes left. Then remember, we're gonna let that natural pressure release for at least 20 minutes after that timer goes off. So by that time, the green beans should be done right about the same time. We're gonna pair that with some mashed potatoes that I've already previously made, and then we'll be back to plate. Okay, our timer has gone off, and we waited 30 minutes actually because we were doing a couple of other things and kind of got distracted. So 30 minutes and the meat is done. So let's open this up. And look at that. My goodness, that looks delicious. So now what I'm gonna do is all of that beautiful broth that you see in there, we're gonna take that out. We're just gonna pour it into a pan. Now, there's a couple ways to do this, and I'm just gonna be honest, I'm doing it the super easy way tonight because I just wanna get dinner on the table. You can take the meat out, shred your meat, cut up your meat, however you wanna do it, and set it to the side and make your gravy in the Instant Pot by putting it on saute. I personally don't like that method very much. Some people are, you know, real purists when it comes to an Instant Pot, so you have to do it all in there. That's not me. I'm gonna pour this broth into a saucepan on the stove and make my gravy there. So meet me at the stove. And ta-da, magic, we're here. All right, this gets a little tricky. You see, guys, we talked about that big thing of fat that was in that meat. And you see how it's real shiny on the top of this broth? That's because that's fat, but that's flavor. So I don't strain mine. Some people like to strain it. That's okay too. That's totally up to you. I have my garlic and stuff going in there, and I'm okay with that because we like that. Hopefully I don't push this meat out and splash it everywhere. That would be all bad. I think that's plenty. All right, so we'll just set this over here. And now we're going to make a slurry. So if you don't know how to make gravy, this is it, guys. Super exciting. I'm gonna turn my flame on about medium heat. Go little, just slightly above medium. And there's several ways to make gravy. You could make gravy by making a roux and then adding your liquid to that roux, which a roux is fat and flour or some sort of starch, corn starch, potato starch, whatever it is. Or you can make a slurry. I am making a slurry today and I'm using cornstarch. My mother taught me to make gravy using flour, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. I prefer to use the cornstarch because it makes gravy a translucent color. When you use flour, it makes it more of a milky looking color. So my family just prefers to have it the translucent kind. So I have a little scoop in here that is 2 tablespoons. I'm making a mess. That is 2 tablespoons when I do it heaping like this. So I'm gonna do that twice because I want 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. Cornstarch also thickens with less. I don't know if I'm saying that the right way, but if I used flour for this, for the thickness that I want, I would have to use like 1/4 to 1/2 cup of flour, but I can use 4 tablespoons of cornstarch and it will give me the thickness that I want. I'm adding some water to this, probably about 1/4, that's probably about 2 tablespoons actually. And at first it seems like it's a little bit hard to stir up. It almost seems like it's like hard, but when you move I have this little tiny whisk, but you could use a fork. As you move it around, it starts getting thinned out. And you see it's very thin. So don't let this fool you. Just because this slurry is not thick does not mean it's not going to thicken your gravy, because I promise it is. The slurry doesn't need to be thick. It's gonna activate all those juices in there. Okay, so you just wanna make sure it's smooth. Now, one of the other things is cornstarch, to me, might just be in my head, but to me seems like it gets a little bit less lumps in it. I feel like when I use flour that I have a lot of lumps in it, and my mom's super good at it and I kind of suck at it, let's be honest. So that's why I like the cornstarch. So I'm using a whisk. I'm using a plastic one because I have nonstick pans, so I don't want to use metal. And I'm just gonna slowly drizzle this slurry in while whisking. If you don't whisk while you do this, you will get lumps. So I'm putting it in slowly, and this is going to actually start thickening right away. And my husband doesn't like super thick gravy. He likes it a little bit on the thin side. Everyone has a preference, and that's okay. You make it how your family likes it. That's how my family likes it. So I'm gonna keep whisking. Now I'm gonna turn my heat up just a little bit, almost to high. And we're gonna whisk until it comes up to a boil. Once you're at a boil, that should be about the thickness that you're gonna get. And then we'll reduce the heat and let it simmer for a few minutes. And you see I have some of this kitchen bouquet on the side over here and some more of the beef bouillon flavoring, because I want to taste this gravy and make sure it's where I want it. If it doesn't have the exact flavor you want, doctor it up, guys. Put what you need. Put your seasonings in. I recommend using the same seasonings that you used in your roast, but season it up. Make it how you like it. Now you can see it's a rolling boil. So of course I'm gonna taste it when it's boiling, because why not burn my mouth? Sounds like something fun to do on the camera for you guys. Oh, hello, super delicious. I'm gonna tell you guys something. That twist that I did earlier where I put those cherries in there, knocked it out of the park. I can't really describe like the flavor that it doesn't taste like cherry at all. it just has a certain richness to it that I don't think that you could get with anything else, with the exception of like my mother used to do it with coffee. But my husband doesn't really like coffee and stuff, so that's why I don't do it that way. I'm gonna let my husband taste this off camera because he's a gravy connoisseur. Oh yeah, he's shaking his head. He says yes on that. So, all right, so that's the gravy. Now we're gonna come over here to this Instant Pot. You can see I already turned it off, and I have lifted the lid off already because I didn't want these to continue to steam, because I don't want them overdone. And that's what our green beans look like. Somebody's fabulous. Look at this, you guys. You see all that goodness and the bacon in there. The green beans are cooked perfectly. They're not overcooked at all. They're not gonna be mushy, but they're not hard either. My husband doesn't like crispy vegetables, so. All right, let's grab a clean spoon. Let's taste this broth. And we're just checking for seasoning. Oh, hello. That could use a little bit of salt. But other than that, perfect. Let me grab my salt. All right, I'm gonna come in here with about a teaspoon of salt. Let me stir that up again. We'll give it another taste. Always check your food for seasoning, guys. There's nothing worse than getting to the table and having somebody that has to put salt and pepper on their food because you didn't put enough seasoning in it. So let me get another clean spoon and let's taste away. Oh, yeah, so good. Okay. All right, guys, we're ready to plate it up. And here we have it, plated up. So we have that pot roast. It shreds apart so easily, so I've just taken a few chunks out, a little bit of the onion we cooked it with, the mashed potatoes I said that we made previously. And remember, if you guys want the recipe for the mashed potatoes, I know a couple of you have commented, I will make those in a future video, so stay tuned for that. It was just easier today for me to make them off camera. And then that beautiful gravy and the green beans, so let's give it a taste. Oh, it's just so tender, falling apart. Mmm. Really good. Super tender, not dry at all. Mmm. That has a really good flavor. Let's try some mashed potatoes. Mmm. Oh, that gravy is so good, you guys. Really, really delicious. Mmm. Green beans are tender. Not overcooked, like I said, they're not mushy, but they're not crispy either. They're perfectly cooked. A little bit of a twang from that vinegar and a slight little kick from the crushed red pepper. This is a really, really delightful meal, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please follow us on Instagram at cooking_with DD. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell on our YouTube channel. Please, please, please share our YouTube channel so we can get more subscribers. We really appreciate it at In the Kitchen with Delightful Donna. Thanks for watching. Bye.